In this video, we'll be walking through the basics of the admin app within Bright Thinker. So with administrative permissions, once you get logged in, this is the home page of the admin app. The first three steps are user creation, course creation, and enrollment creation. So for those, in the top left corner, you'll notice those three lines. That will be your main menu and how you can navigate through the platform. Underneath the admin app homepage, you'll notice there's the users. Clicking on users is where you will want to create all of your admins, teachers, students, parents. Any users that need access to the site will be created and listed here. There's two different ways of creating those users. You can either use the plus button in the top right corner to individually add in a user at a time, or you have the option to click the three dots and import the users in bulk. Now we do have a user import template within our support materials where you can find the PDF step-by-steps on how to import this in with the required fields. For today's purpose, I'm going to use the plus button to create an individual user. So you will want to designate the username. Please keep in mind that if you are using any type of single sign-on, these password will not override the single sign-on authentication. It's always great to have something in place here if your school is using single sign-on. However, it's important to keep in mind if you're not using single sign-on, the platform will not automatically give these credentials to the users. You will need to share those with the users being created. Beneath the password is the external ID. So this is where we highly recommend you label the users you're creating. For example, if they're an administrative, teacher, staff member of any kind, you'll want to type in their role right within here. So for example, if I were adding an administrator, I would type that within there. Very similar with teacher, parent. This external ID helps in knowing which accounts are students. So if you type student within the external ID or leave it blank, that is how we will count your student usage. Beneath here, you will have an option to add in the user's email address. It's not required, however, it is helpful if the user needs to reset their own password at a later time. Underneath all of those user details, you'll have the option to add accommodations. This does apply to all courses this student will be enrolled in. You have a few different options of never automatically assigning zeros to past due activities, ignoring passwords, time limits. Speech stream is text-to-speech that offers translation, read aloud, and other helpful tools. And then lastly is limiting the number of options students will see on multiple choice questions. Under there, you'll have a place as an administrator to add in the student's IEP. Clicking edit will open up a text box where you can add any notes that you'd like your teachers to see from their end. You can also choose to upload the file right within here or add a URL. Once the user's details have been completed, you can click Create at the very top. That will automatically bring you back to the Users tab where you can see your new user listed. You can also use the filter in the top left corner to filter out that student, whether you're using their first, last name, external ID. All of that will help you in finding the users that you have created. Next, we'll cover how to reset a user's password or lockout. So in the event that the student forgets their password, they get locked out of the system for incorrectly typing in their credentials too many times. As an administrator, you can go in and click on any of the users' IDs. From here in the top right corner, you have access to the three dots will allow you to change the password or reset the lockout for that user. You will also notice if you click on any of the user IDs, you have the option of unchecking the active box. This will make the account inactive. It will no longer allow that user to log into the platform. However, we do highly recommend you inactivate any students or any users that will no longer have access to BrightThinker. This will help keep your site clean and organized to only show those active student users. You can also do the same in bulk. So you'll notice there's some checkboxes on the left-hand side here. You can check on multiple at a time. If you'd like to inactivate multiple at once, this is what we would recommend. That way, once you have those checked on, you can go to the top right corner, click on the triple dots to bulk update. We always suggest never to delete anything in the platform. It will delete all progress and data. However, if you click bulk update, that allows you to just change the status of those users. And the benefit is that any inactive users that you'd like to reactivate, you can just simply uncheck the active users only box to reactivate them. The next step is showing how to create a course within BrightThinker. So opening up that main menu, moving down to the Courses tab, is where all of your courses will be listed. Whether they're previous courses, current, or future courses, all of them will be listed in one place here. You will notice this Courses tab also has a checkbox indicating active courses. You can also uncheck that box to see any previous courses that are no longer active. For the courses, the start and end dates is what determines if the course is active. So if the start date is in the future or the end date is in the past, that will show as an inactive course. To create a brand new course, you'll want to click the plus button in the top right corner. When creating a course, you'll have 3 options to choose from. It's important to note that copy a shared course is the only option that will give you a fresh copy of our BrightThinker curriculum with content in there. You'll notice the source course pops up under there. You can click on the 3 lines to the right of that, and that will pull up all of our K through 12 courses. From here, you can scroll to select the course that you'd like to pull in. It is all in alphabetical order, and it is filtering up to the first 500 results, so you may have to scroll to look for the course you're looking for. You will also come across the KA and the accommodated courses. So KA is those credit recovery with the pretest at the top of each unit. You'll be able to review them from here. They will all begin with KA before the title. Same with the accommodated courses, you will come across ACCOM in front of those. So as an example, choose one of these courses here. Once you've selected your course, you'll click Next. It's important to leave it on Updates, that way you receive any academic setting changes or curriculum fixes. Next is titling your course. So you can remove KA from the title if you would like to remove that from the student's view. Students are only seeing the course title. You can leave it as is. We do recommend adding either the student's ID number, teacher's last name, any way to distinguish this course apart from the others. Adding it to the end of the title or to the beginning of the title is helpful, especially when you're enrolling your teachers and students into the appropriate courses. Below there is the external ID. It is optional, and it's a great way to organize your courses. Once the course has been created, you can filter using the external ID or just simply organize by labeling what type of course that is used for. Lastly is selecting the schedule. So you have 2 options here. You have range and continuous. Range is the option that will allow the teachers to manually assign their due dates to their course. It will automatically come without any due dates, so the teachers will have to place those and assign them manually in order for the students to have a to-do list and a calendar to work from. If no due dates are placed on the range course, the students will be able to work at their own pace through their course. The other option is continuous. This option will place targeted due dates based on each individual student enrollment. So if students are enrolled in this course in independent study, this is very popular since it does adjust the pacing for each individual student. Within here, you will have two different dates, start and end date. Keep in mind these dates do not impact student access whatsoever. So we typically recommend leaving the start date to the day you're creating the course and the end date being the last day of the semester or the last day of the school year. That way it will automatically archive once that course inactivates. Once you have added your course, you'll see it populate in this list. You can use the filter and search by that last name. Once you've located your course, you can click on the course ID to the left of the course title, and you'll notice that some of these fields can be edited at a later time post-creation. The last step is to enroll the students as well as the teacher into the course. And you'll notice after clicking on the course ID, you can click over to enrollments in the top left corner. To add in the individual enrollments, you can click on the plus button in the top right corner. And this will allow you to add in multiple users at a time into this one course. So this is helpful if you're adding multiple students in at once. You can click on the three lines next to each user line, and this will bring you to your active users that have already been created. So from here you can select your students. You will want to make sure that the role is correct here. You can click down on the drop down and select teacher once you are ready to enroll the teacher as well. You will see underneath the role is start and end dates. So this is what will determine the pacing as well as the access for the students. So especially if you're using a continuous course, this is what the system will use to automatically place those targeted due dates. So if the student is starting a little bit later on, you can adjust that to be a future start date. And then the end date is the last day they have to submit any work. So you can adjust that here. Scrolling down, you can go ahead and review the permissions that are given to the students. However, you don't need to adjust these. These automatically change over once you switch the role. Scrolling up, you can click Create, and that will automatically create those 3 enrollments for those students. Now coming back to the course enrollments page, you're able to see the student and the teacher that has been enrolled into this course. If you accidentally made an error when creating these enrollments, you can click on the enrollment ID to the left of the enrollment, and this allows you to change the role, status, start and end date for each enrollment. Going back to the enrollment page, you also have the checkboxes on the left-hand side that allow you to bulk update both enrollments at once. Very similar, using the triple dots, bulk update, and then checking on the setting that needs to be adjusted. Lastly, you'll also want to make sure to check that bottom box to verify and update your setting change. Again, the enrollment states right within here is what will determine the pacing for the student as well as access. Outside of enrolling the users per course, by clicking on the course ID, you also have the option to open up and go back to the Users tab. Clicking on the user ID to the left of the user will allow you to also access the Enrollments tab from the top left corner, and then using the plus button to now add multiple courses into one student's enrollments. Now that we've covered how to create users, courses, and enrollments, last step is to go into the admin app homepage where we first started and click on the triple dots in the top right corner. This will allow you to access the domain settings and adjust the blackout dates or school holidays. That way, if you're using continuous courses, the targeted due dates won't be placed on any of those holidays. This will have a lot of information right within here, but underneath the avatars, you will find the blackout dates. You'll see a few different examples that we've added in here throughout the years. They can be added as a specific time period, so for multiple days at a time, or just a single date. You'll want to name your school holiday. Once you click done, it does get added to the list of the blackout dates, and it will factor in when the system is auto-pacing those due dates. The blackout dates will also show within the calendar for the students and will apply to all courses within this domain. Once you have added those in, you'll want to save in the top right corner. It's important to note that we typically would recommend the blackout dates be added in before the students gain access. That way their pacing doesn't adjust mid-year and cause any past due activities. This was a basic introduction to the platform on creating users, courses, enrollments, and blackout dates. But should you have any questions, we do offer training, resources, and reminders within our BrightThinker support materials. If you open that into a new tab, that will bring you to this page here. This will be different credentials that we'll use to sign in to your school site. So please reach out to BrightThinker or your school administrator to get those credentials. Underneath that support materials link in the main menu, you'll also have access to the BrightThinker customer support. This will bring you to our website, which has our help desk, where you can submit a help ticket, report issues, feedback, anything you need for us to look into. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.